Today on Cooperative, our quick before you buy it video for MicroMacro Crime City. You are watching Cooperative. I'm Jesse. I'm here with Greg.
Thanks for having me on your channel.
We're doing a quick before you buy it for a game that was sent to us by one of our subscribers, Sydney Dean. So thank you, Sydney.
Thank you very much. Very kind of you.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about how to play the game?
So MicroMacro is a very unique, cool game, and they doubled down on that by putting on the box how to play the game. So the game is case-based. It comes with 16 cases, as you can see.
Each in their own little envelope.
And so rather than give something away, they show you how to play on the box. So we'll kind of look here. It says get started right away. So this is going to spoil the box cover, but that's not really a big deal. I should say that we won't have spoilers in the rest of this review. Okay, so to solve the case, who murdered the burger vendor? So the way you play the game is you sort of look around. You say, oh, look, there's a burger stand. And you see that's the burger vendor. And now you'll follow him around, right? So it'll just kind of repeat him. So you'll see he comes out the back door. He's right there. And then you see he's crossing the road down here, on and on and on. And then you end up seeing this person starts, you see him start to notice the burger vendor, and he follows him. You see he's hit there. So, the guy got away. So roughly, that's basically how you play. There's sort of these moments in time, but you're kind of following them around. But you're using those clues too, those visual clues.
And can I show? Let's look at. We're not going to spoil this case, but this is what the case looks like when you play it.
And this is the introductory case.
You open an envelope. It's got a certain number of cards. It's rated for its difficulty. The first card will introduce you to the case, and then you'll get a series of questions. Your first question is to find the pub here, and you'd look for it. When you found it, you'd then flip over this card to see whether you're right or wrong, and then you'd go to the next question, till you get them all. So each one is a little question which helps you know what direction to go, and then you can check your answer.
So it also, the instruction booklet here will give you a listing of all the cases, of which I said there's 16, and it shows you the difficulty levels in ascending order if you want to play them in the order of their difficulty.
And you will start to see the same people pop up. Like in one case, you'll see them again. You'll be like, oh, remember we saw that guy in that case. They're not like part of a campaign, but sometimes they have little interactions.
So do you want to kind of show the map off a little bit here?
Yeah, I mean, this huge map is this huge, intricate, detailed map. And it's a little bit like a Finding Where's Waldo type of thing.
Very similar.
But the key brilliant mechanic in this game is the use of time. The fact that somehow they make it work, that the things that are happening here are happening sequentially over time. So you see the same person in different places as they're traveling. And what have we done here? What are these cubes? Don't come with the game.
Yeah, cubes don't come with the game. That's just a way to mark off sometimes because we just played it to refresh ourselves on it. And it's just a way to you put the points where you see different people and things. We just do that as a little extra so we can go back over and find it with ease. We use cubes like this here from Board Game Geek in quite a lot of games. Yeah, it's pretty neat. I mean, I would agree with you on that. You have to use kind of two things. You're using you'll see the person holding something maybe, and then you'll look and you'll see that thing's missing, and then so you'll know you have to look for them wearing something else or whatever the case may be. And you have all these little ways of finding. I'm trying to speak generally as to not give anything away. But it is pretty neat because you have to use your deduction. Sometimes you have to be aware of some surroundings and think, oh, well, they probably would have done this, or maybe if they had this item, they would have got it from the store, or vice versa.
Can we stay on that for a second? As you were pointing out, you see a person, you know what they look like, right? And usually you can go one or two steps, you can find them. But very frequently, the mechanic this game uses is they did something that would tell you where they went, if they traveled by car, boat, whatever, and it's no longer a game of trying to just find them. It's a logical puzzle oh, they've got this item. They must have come from this store. I know where this store is. And sometimes you're piecing together different parts. Then you spot them, and then you can track them back. So it's very satisfying.
Yeah, there was a light deductive element where you have to do that, where you can't. It's not always just so simple. You have to be okay, well, it seems like this person likes rock and roll. well, maybe they would have gone to the, to the stadium where there's rock music playing or something like that, right? And so you have to use these extra little deductions. I mean, it's not heavy deduction, but it's enough to make it so you're not just like, oh well, I'm just following this person around.
Yeah. But the following them around is fun too. Like just the visual. Yeah.
Or you'll see like they rode by a car and you'll say, okay, look, he'll be like, Jesse, you look this way, I'll look up this way of the road, and you'll kind of try to find them.
Well, can I just say you that brings up something that's actually quite interesting. Like when we first got this game, I was thinking, all right, this is not a game for two people to play. This is a single person game. But actually it works quite well with multiple people. Like the map is so big that you can split up a little bit. There's a little bit of a race, like who can find it. It's fun with two people.
I think that it's not just like split up the work, but it's actually you share, and this is like maybe a life lesson, like life thing, but you share in the joy. You're like, oh, look, he's right here. Oh my God, look, he's in this thing, or she's doing this thing. And it's just like, it's cute. I mean, it's a really cute thing, right?
Well, I want to jump in again. You keep making me think of things. There is a real joy at unfolding the stories. Yeah. They're all little stories, and they involve crimes. And you're like, what happened here? Oh, wait, I can see what this guy's trying to do. Oh, I see what happened here. I see what provoked this person. Like, it's fun to uncover
There's a lot of very naughty cartoon characters.
Yeah, they're a little naughty.
I do want to just jump back real fast because, it seemed like we breezed through the map kind of, and I want to just, accentuate how, I mean, every single, square inch of this thing is just packed, bursting with characters. And sometimes sometimes you will have that joyful moment of like, oh, there's our robbers from the other one, or there's our murder from the other one, or whatever. But there also is just these little vignettes that I'm pretty sure are not in anything. It'll just be like some weird little panel, and you'll be like, oh my God, look. And you'll be like, Jesse, look at this guy. And he'll be like, look, Greg, look at this.
But it is so dense with detail, and every little thing, it's important too to know the expressions on their faces and stuff. That comes into play, and you can see it. You see that they're angry or sad or whatever. And the game comes with a little magnifying glass.
Yeah, we should point that out.
To help you zoom in if you need to. But I mean, I got this. I sent a copy to my mother, and I was like, my eyes aren't good enough for this. So there is an age range at which it might be too much, but I feel like, you're focusing. So as long as you can see detail, you could have fun with this.
Yeah, I gave a copy to my nieces who are 11 and 13, and I kind of thought, they're getting too cool for Uncle Greg, right? But they really they were like, oh, look, and they were doing the same thing. And I was like, whoa, they actually kind of like it. And I wouldn't force anything on them. I'd just be like, well, if you want to play, you can play it. But they really kind of enjoyed it, which I was pleasantly surprised. So I think there is that. But we should mention, though, that, there's murder, infidelity,
it's a
robbery.
Adult.
So, I mean, there are those things happening in this city, although they're cutesy little critters, right? But if you're sensitive to that, it might not be a good fit, unfortunately.
Well, that might be a good point to talk about it's not an expansion. It's the second set of cases just came out. It's MicroMacro Fun City, I think. Yeah. Oh, Full House. MicroMacro Crime City Full House. Ooh. And as I understand it, same number of cases. Obviously, all different cases, different map. And as I understand it, they've decided to rate the mysteries by adultness, not by. These are by difficulty. That will still be in the new one, but also so that these are child appropriate, small kid appropriate.
That's a great idea. Yeah. So I want to mention a couple other things that are sort of superfluous to this game, I guess, in a way. I think it might be kind of fun when you're done with these cases to color it. Some colored pencils.
That's a fun idea.
Maybe not crayons because they're very fine detail, but I mean, people love the coloring books and stuff now. I think it would be totally cute to color these in.
It would, and it's not that uncommon to play a game and be like, I would like to frame that game. I had such a fun experience. This, after you're done with all those missions, framing this on the wall and people could come over and sort of play it.
It's a little big for that.
It's big, but it's beautiful.
Well, I had mentioned also...
Especially if you color it.
That's true. It is kind of neat to I thought would it be worthwhile to copy this? Because I thought you'd get in the way of everybody quite a bit. But I have actually found that I don't think that would be necessary because it seems like you're kind of all over the map,
Yeah,
literally.
Although I do think you've got a point there. I mean, two of us spread out and cover the map pretty well. I think if you had four people, you might feel a little bit like you do in an escape room when there are 8 people and you're like, I don't know what you four have solved it before I got a chance.
I've been looking in this jar of orange juice for
so
45 minutes.
I think 2 people is a real good number for this.
Although kids too, I think like if
you
they're
had a
playing,
couple more kids, but
they're like
at
they're
a certain-
getting distracted and
sure.
looking at.
But at a
things.
certain player count, you're going to be like, I didn't participate in that.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we play it, there is an element where the other person's like, I see it, I see it, I see it. Like
Yeah.
once you see one, you're a little
Yeah.
closer to the next one, and you could get stuck there.
So let me ask you this: do you? I mean, we're kind of out of the like. It's funny because I mean, not funny, but we've, we're at hopefully at the tail end of this pandemic now, and it's interesting because like I was just thinking like coloring it is a great like little activity for being on lockdown or whatever. But we had played some stuff on Zoom together in the early days of the pandemic. Do you think this is like if two people have each have a copy? Do you think this is a good Zoom one? Whereas
I'll
you
tell
can play
you
with a
why
friend?
I don't think it would work. There is downtime when you're like, I wonder where it would be, but it's frequently like, hey, this, then there's this, then
Oh,
there's
yeah.
this. Like
go over to
you
D5,
need to
yeah.
be sitting there together and pointing. Otherwise, what's going to happen is by the time you get to the keyboard, the person's like, I already found that. I'm 2 steps ahead.
Sure.
So
okay,
I think,
those are just a couple of oddball thoughts that maybe like
well, you could imagine if. It wouldn't be surprising if they made a digital version of this where you could zoom and pan around, and if you had multiple people
and you could
zooming around,
you could put
and,
an
like,
arrow
and
like
point.
look here. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
All right. Well, I think we probably pretty well covered it. Maybe too much, so since we're talking about coloring in the board. But final thoughts, Jesse?
I mean, I love it. I think it's a unique experience. It's satisfying both for the mystery of it, the fun story, and then the visual activity. So, I mean, this is a must buy for me, a great gift, and, I think anyone could enjoy it. I love it.
Yeah, I think all ages are going to enjoy this. Kids, adults, everybody's going to get a kick out of it, right? And I would agree with Jesse about the uniqueness thing. I mean, I'm a huge fan of stuff that's like, that's doing, when I read books, watch movies, I'm like, oh, I've never seen that before. We played a lot of games and stuff, and this is something that's totally fresh. And it's just so lighthearted, but also provides, and it's quick. It's a very quick game, like 10,
each
15
game
minutes.
is pretty quick, but
And-
there's so much variety and difficulty levels. We didn't say that you can play it on a harder difficulty level where you don't even walk through the different steps. So you just like start somewhere and then try to uncover the whole mystery around this person.
Before you look at the questions, and then if you look at the question you don't know the answer, then you're kind of stuck. But it is, we did try it both ways, and it was kind of neat to be able to like try to figure out the entire story before you even consulted the questions. So it was a little bit of a neat thing. I don't really necessarily think it's necessary. It's such a light game, like just read through them. I don't know. It's sort of like overcomplicating something, I guess, in a way. But yeah, total thumbs up for me. Inexpensive, unique, entertaining, lighthearted, great filler game. We actually played this here at the end of the night since we had a few minutes left, and we thought, what a perfect thing. And I always like having a little filler game, and
Just
I think this is
brilliant
great.
design,
Yeah, and a little something to bring everybody together at the end of the night. You feel like, you can laugh at like petty larceny committed by like rabbits after your friend destroys you in Twilight Imperium, So, but well, thanks for joining us. We're not going to do playthrough with this one because that would be absurd.
Yeah, and there's plenty of it already out there. You probably can watch a playthrough. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.